And hello again. I cannot say this enough. The pleasure, the joy, the honor really to come to you and for you to also join in with us in the conversations we've been having and the conversations we have about the power of our common humanity, the power of our humanity, both at the individual level and at the collective level. Of course, the joy and the beauty and the pleasure and the blessing of knowing that our Creator has endowed us, all of us as creation, particularly the species called human beings. That's you and I. We're endowed with the power, the awesome, profound power, that potential, if you like, that software. He placed it within us, blessed us with it, gave us this asset to determine outcomes and to make the outcomes come to pass. It's one thing envisioning, envisaging, and determining outcomes, and it's a totally different thing, an entirely different thing, having the power, possessing the power to make what you envision come to pass. And in all of these conversations we've been having, the one point we've been making is that the mindset, the mind, the power of the mind is such a crucial. In fact, to say crucial will be an understatement. We would have to say critical. It is even so critical, more so, to understand that the mindset, our mindset, the kind of mindset we form, whether it's a negative mindset or a positive mindset, goes to the heart of realizing this power of our humanity to bring about transformational change. The power to envision, the power to envisage, the power to bring about transformational change is all locked in mindset. This concept, this thought, this idea called the mindset is indeed and truly so powerful, profoundly powerful. What it means, therefore, is the subject and the conversation about mindset is a subject and a conversation we should be having. We should be having very, very, very intensely because, again, as we've said over and over and over and over, you are your mindset, I am my mindset. At the personal level, at the collective level, our society, our businesses, our institutions, our homes, our families, our nations is what it is because of our thinking, because of the mindset. Nigeria is what it is because of the quality of mindset of its citizens and those who govern and those who are in leadership and rulership. Ghana is what it is because of the power of this concept, the mindset, the thinking, the quality of mindset, not just of those who rule and those who govern and those in leadership, but also of its citizens. All of us are what we are. The state of the quality or the quality of the state of our nations is what it is because of the quality of thinking, the quality of mindset, the quality of our minds. Our hearts and our desires and what really consumes us is that these conversations will reach our target group, that is the target group between 15 and 25 right up to 45, what we call the younger millennials, the older millennials, the Gen Zs, this demographic, this very important demographic where change naturally happens, change naturally takes place, and where change is quite easily possible. That's why we focus on this demographic. However, our conversations are open to anybody, everybody, wherever you are, you can really be part of this conversation. So we're continuing today with mindset, the power of mindset part 2. I'd like us to very quickly go over the quote of Ellen Langer. It is not primarily our physical selves that limit us, but rather our mindset about our physical limits. It's not the physical selves, it's not the physical limits that limit us, but rather the mindset about the physical limits. This statement is true, and it's true to the core because of the few case studies we've done on this platform, Global Changemakers Africa, as our name is GCMA for short. We've done quite some interesting case studies, and these have been case studies which are some of the most profound case studies, People with some of the most absurd human limitations, physical limitations. You talk about disease limitations, limps, and so on, that are totally unfunctionable, dysfunctional. They just don't function because of disease, all manner of disease situations. Now, these individuals came at the top of the human ladder of achievers, the greatest achievers. Some of the greatest achievers were these individuals whose physical limitations destined them to failure and really to be nothing, because the physical limits wrote them off even as normal, regular human beings, much more becoming achievers. Literally impossible. And yet, something within them defied these disadvantages, defied these odds, and they became what normal, regular, healthy, whole human beings have not even dared to dream of, much more achieve. But these individuals with their limitations became that. Why? Because something on the inside of us, this human species, this species of creation called human being, something so powerful, so profoundly powerful, called the mindset, which in the words of Mahatma Gandhi is based on the beliefs, the beliefs which give rise to thoughts, and thoughts to words, and words to actions, and actions to habits, and then habits to values, and then values write your destiny. So then these variables within the mindset conversation, the mindset discussion, thoughts, words, actions, habits, values, and all of that, which form the basis of mindset, all of these literally make the mindset. And so a person's quality of thoughts and their words, their actions, their habits, their values, and all of that will determine their quality of mindset and will determine where they go with their lives. So then, from Ellen's quote, if a person in their beliefs, in their thoughts, believe that their physical limits cannot hinder them from being the achievers they dream to be, they will become the achievers they dream to be. Having said this, what it means is in our nations, particularly in this continent of Africa, young people, it is the quality of mindset, which means the people around you, the people who speak into your life, the people who you're always having conversations with, the people you're rubbing shoulders with, the people you are engaging with, the people you're dealing with, the people you are talking to, the people you are conversing with, the people who are influencing you, the people whose values influence you, whose thoughts, whose thinking influences you. These people are major crafters of your mindset. In other words, you may not see it, you may not even believe it, you may not even accept it, but believe you me, they are helping to craft the way you think. They are helping to craft your values and your belief system. Now, in this second part, we want to also look beyond all of that and look at mindset and stress. Another example of how mindset affects physiology was shown in a 2012 study on the association between stress perception, health, and mortality. In other words, dying, people dying, physically dying, the general conversation about health and stress. So stress perception, oh, I'm stressed. And of course, we all go through stress. We all deal with stress. Some deal with stress in larger doses, bigger amounts than others. But all of us deal with stress at different levels, in different degrees, based on the responsibilities, the very things we deal with. We have a saying in the local parlance here that says something like this: everybody runs according to what is chasing them. So what it means really in essence is you deal with your level of stress based on your level of responsibility and assignment and what you do and what is cut out for you. Now, Kelly McGonigal references the study in her 2013 TED Talk, explaining that participants who experienced high levels of stress had an increased risk of death, but only if they believed stress to be that harmful. Wow. That is right to the heart of the science, and that's quite an interesting proposition right there. That's quite an interesting position right there, which goes right to the heart of the science, which means, according to Kelly McGonigal, in her 2013 TED Talk, she explains that those who experience high levels of stress, once you experience high levels of stress, you will have the increased risk of death. You are prone to the risk of death because, as you know, stress will tear down your immune system, and then your immune system, once it's torn down, the gates are open wide for all manner of diseases and sicknesses to rush in, to gush in, to come in. So stress is a big deal, is a big factor. But Kelly is saying that the power of the mind and how an individual is able to, as it were, configure and posture the mind is such that there's a mental posture that can mitigate stress, the reality of stress and the reality of increased risk of death. The power of the mind. Now, I'm not an authority on the science, so I will not be able to get into the details of the science argument. But even without getting into the science argument, if we just considered all the conversations we've had so far from the concept of the mind and the nature of the mind and the power of the mind and how the mind is formed and the mindset, not the mind, but mindset, the mindset, and let's be clear about that, mindset. We've been discussing mindset. If all of it is anything to go by, which I definitely believe is everything to go by, even considering the profoundly powerful concept called the placebo effect and the nocebo effect, which we just considered in our last session of the power of the mind. If those scientific concepts, those science concepts are anything to go by, then it means the case can be made that the mind has power to mitigate the possibility of stress killing somebody. It means you can take a little rest, like this concept called power nap. Power nap, where you take a rest, you sleep, go to sleep for say 10, 15 minutes. Some do 20 minutes, but it's normally a short nap, short sleep, where you sleep. And when you sleep, somehow you are able to get deep rest, such that after just 15, 20, I think max 30 minutes or so of that kind of deep sleep, you are able to sort of de-stress and ward off all the stress. Your body and your system exudes all of that stress, which could have killed you. Now, if the power of sleep and the power of the concept of what you call power nap can do that, then indeed the power of the mind mindset has the power and the ability to conjure a certain relief for any stressed individual. I believe practically one could just maybe sit in your rocking chair or lay on the floor or lay on some place, sit in some chair, comfortable place as much as possible, or just be somewhere, shut your eyes, and as it were, just shut off the rest of the world. And of course, all of these are disciplines that must be practiced. And in the process, I believe one can posture the mind to suddenly bring relief to your system from very, very high levels of stress. This is about the simplest explanation that I believe one could give beyond going into the depths of the science. Now, those who experience high stress levels but did not see it as harmful were no more likely to die. McGonigal, that's Kelly, encourages developing more positive mindsets around stress. And I believe that these positive mindsets around stress that Kelly is talking about has to do with practical things to do. You know, very quickly, just to share this with you, I remember years ago they used to do this, and I'm sure they still do it. These days of economic difficulty, flying and traveling doesn't offer all of the comforts it used to, but depending on how you're traveling and where you're traveling, you could still get some of those comforts. But there was this little thing shaped in the form of glasses, but made from a cloth that was put around your eyes, and then these little corks that was also put in your ear, so that when the flight was in motion, you could put it around your eyes, and it's dark. It just darkens you and almost shuts off every light. And when it shuts off every light, it engages just you and your mind. And not only that, but you also have these corks in your ear. And as you have the corks in your ear, you would suddenly, have, it's almost like the whole world is shut out. Now, that system, I believe, is one of the commonest each one of us can deploy in order to engage the action of positive mindsets to distress. Because, of course, within that quiet, that absolute quiet where you are shut off and out from the world around you for those few moments, maybe an hour, maybe 30 minutes, 20 minutes, for those moments and for that moment of tranquil, of quiet, I believe you can project your mind into thinking positive thoughts and, of course, positive memories, beautiful memories, great memories. And all of these engage the power, the potential of the mind to de-stress. Now, this is important because, again, in a world today, especially for us young people, I remember I spoke at a university not too long ago, and one of the students asked me, how do we as young people deal with all the stress we are surrounded with, the stress of studying, the stress of passing? And this particular university is the university where if you got your GPA below 2, you are given 2 semesters as your only chance of coming up. Otherwise, you are fired from the university. And so that added stress of having to keep up with excellence in your academic laurels and academic pursuits, and of course, including all of the stress in the world today. This young gentleman asked me, I think he was just about 22, 23, because I asked his age, can't quite remember, but it sort of touched me. I felt compassionate towards this young man because I thought to myself, your parents have brought you to the school. They take responsibility for all of your financial needs and make sure you are in the school, even you have stress. You know, you wouldn't think that young people today have stress, but they do have stress. Now, it's important for all of us to develop, whether parents, adults, old, young, younger millennials, particularly millennials, younger millennials, have their own kind of peer pressure and stress. It is important to understand that mindset, not a negative one, but the positive one, really drives de-stressing and therefore can produce a stress relief life. Not a stress-free, because none of us will ever be stress-free. So long as we live in this world, it's always going to be stress around us. Everything is stress. The air these days, in the last few years, from 2019, used to be full of stress. The stress was called COVID-19, huge pandemic. You couldn't even breathe. Going through those times when we had all these theories about this virus going around. There was even a time where they said you could breathe the virus in the air. So we didn't know what to do again. Do we go to hide? Where could you hide? Because there was air everywhere. If you didn't, you hid yourself away from air, then you were going to die. I mean, all of these added to the stress levels. The disease itself was stressful, and the fact that we had all these theories flying around was stressful. But somehow, thankfully, we beat it back, and it's not as dangerous as it used to be when it was at its peak. Let's look at David Pelzer, who says you can be a victim of cancer or a survivor of cancer. It's a mindset. He's the American author of several self-help books. Now, Dave Pelzer is making a very interesting statement. And by the way, all of these statements, my friends, all of these statements, they can be interrogated, they can be examined further, and I hope that they are points of conversation for all of us who are listening and who are participating and who are watching and who are part of these conversations. These statements can be interrogated, these statements can be looked at really within the context of the truth about the power of the mind and the mindsets we can form and the mindsets we need to form. Let's state this again, look at this again, that cancer, as you know, is the most vicious disease, feared, the most feared. Now, Dave Pelzer is saying that one could either have a victim mentality or a survivor mentality. Survivor mentality means I'm going to fight back. I'm going to fight back. That's the survivor mentality. The victim mentality says, I'm dead. You know what? This thing has had me. Like the first conversations we had about the chances, say an individual having discovering she has breast cancer, she has 10%, the disease is only 10% chance of killing her, 90% of the chance she will live. But she chooses to form a negative mindset that says the 10% chance of the disease will kill her. Now, David Pelzer is saying the same, that having and developing the survivor mentality can beat back disease, Now, again, it's awesome. This places conversation about the power of the mind and the mindsets we form at the center of any shape, form, or fashion of transformational change, whether for the individual, whether for the family, for the home, for the business, for faith, for religion, all across life. I believe the conversation about the power of mindset is at the heart and is at the core of all of life and the transformations we desire. When we say that our Creator has endowed us with the blessing of determining outcomes and making those outcomes to come, I believe that the bedrock, the basis, the premise on which this statement sits is the power of mindset. The power of mindset. And let's not forget, my friends, that at the heart of developing mindset is people. people, the people talking to you, the people you hang with, the people you play with, the people who influence your life, the people whose words matter to you, the people whose words have impact on you, parents and children, siblings, friends, and so on, people and situations around you. I'm telling you, they can craft and couch and form for you a defeatist mindset or a victor's mindset, either a victim mindset or a victor's mindset, and all of it will take you in one direction or the other, and I guarantee you it's all mindset. I am sharing these things really and quite honestly based on my own personal life and my own personal experiences, and with the little I have seen in my life and the years I have lived and all of that. I subscribe to these truths, and I can tell you it is indeed true that the power of the mind is an awesome thing. I believe it is the most awesome theme and conversation that must be at the heart of how we want Ghana to be for those who live in Ghana, how we want Nigeria to be for those who live in Nigeria, how we want Zimbabwe to be for those of us who live in Zimbabwe, South Africa, Mali, Senegal, Kenya, Somalia, Ethiopia, Eritrea, the entire continent of Africa, and for the rest of the world. This world can indeed be a paradise. It is all up to the mindset of the occupants of this estate called the earth. Mindset can either be positive or negative, and we've said that a lot already, and it can impact every area of an individual's life, every area. And we've seen it. Again, I cannot stop talking and referencing enough about the placebo and the nocebo effect and those concepts and how powerful those concepts are when it comes to the mind and the power of the mind. What it means is that Ghana, Nigeria, Cote d'Ivoire, Burkina Faso, Mali, Senegal, right across Sudan, South Sudan, right across to Kenya, to the Horn of Africa, Somalia, up Eritrea, Ethiopia, all across Algeria, Tunisia, coming right down to South Africa. This continent ought not to be so. It ought not. It means we deserve better. We can be better. We must be better if we go to the heart of the conversation where it matters the most. It is the quality of mindset, the quality of faith. So, it can affect everything from someone's health and well-being to their level of success. Again, it is the individuals of Ghana who make Ghana. It's not the government of Ghana who make Ghana. Yes, they do have a large influence to orchestrate things in terms of policy and actions and inactions and so on. And so it is with Nigeria and South Africa and every nation on the face of the earth. However, at the individual level, before a person goes into any responsible position of authority and of leadership, say goes into parliament, before anybody becomes a parliamentarian, if we insist as a people in Nigeria, before anybody becomes a senator, if we put aside the cultural entanglements and strongholds and the imprisonments that says he's an elder, he's an older man, so he has the right to go first, and that's a younger. No, the meritocracy, the merit, the whole point about merit, when it comes to what affects our destiny, your destiny and my destiny collectively, I believe we should interrogate mindset and not age. We should interrogate quality of mindset and not longevity of loyalty to a political party. We live in a world where we're governed by systems. We have systems that deal with our lives, systems that make laws. We have institutions, state institutions, and so on. All of these which are run by the concept of a leader, a foremost leader, you know, a president or a prime minister, or in the case of a monarchy, you know, the head, and is at the same time the head of the system, the government that makes rules and sees to the well-being of our lives. So naturally, the tendency is to always extend blame of my personal, you know, lack of progress, throw the blame on the entity outside of me. That makes sense. And by all means, there is blame to go around all the time. However, it will be a big mistake, a great mistake in our quest for national transformation, for economic emancipation of our individual nations, whether it's Africa or wherever, all over the world. It will be the gravest of mistakes to minimize the individual citizenry responsibility in this whole equation of nation building. And in my personal view, most of the time, the individual's personal responsibility is much heavier and weightier than that of the entity outside of them that we like to blame and put the blame on, even for the fact that we don't take a good bath and are not able to take the good bath. Because as you know, there are people who will blame the entity of government or leadership, political leadership, whatever leadership, blame them for everything, including the fact that it's their fault for making you urinate and pee, like this guy who urinated in the public space out there, whom I've used as an example all of the time. That is true. However, I'll say it again, that the personal level, personal responsibility, taking the responsibility at the personal level is so crucial. It is so crucial. It is so crucial because it is part of what goes to the heart and to the core of any nation, any society, any business, any entity's transformation. And this is why this conversation about mindset is so important. I like to just read again before we go to the next slide. Mindset can affect everything from someone's health and well-being, even to their level of success. So success at the personal level, success at the micro level, that is personal, small, and then, of course, the larger levels are all a result of mindset. Mindset has to be a lifetime theme, lifetime topic, lifetime conversation that runs through all of our conversations. We all live in Ghana, we all live in our nations, but guess what? We can still come out on top. It's the mindset. Thank you so much. Now, share, like, subscribe. I'll say it again, share, like, subscribe. But share, like, and then subscribe to the videos, subscribe to our channel. Subscribe to the videos, subscribe to our channel. Have a blessed day.